Morning, everybody. Hey, good morning. I'm about to take off and go for a run, so I don't have my camera on. Kind of taking a chill day. I've been going nonstop since I don't even know when. So this is a friendly reminder. If you haven't had a break, go take some time to chill out for a second and get some fresh air in. All right, I want to do. Linda, do we have COTD today?
Yes. The Tech Ninjas are doing the Lone Wolf on Zoom from 10 to 12.
Hey, what was that big applause we got from the team meeting yesterday about the difference between Lone Wolf and DocuSign?
Oh, yeah. I was saying my favorite thing about Lone Wolf is if you guys are familiar with DocuSign, you have to kind of go search for your document to upload it to Command. But this is integrated so well that it's going to be mapped. So as soon as you have a signed executed contract, it's going to automatically populate that into Command. So you're not having to search for the document. So it's going to make compliance a whole lot easier and it won't be such a mess. Because honestly, DocuSign was really, really hard to navigate finding your actual documents that needed to be uploaded.
So you won't actually
So
have to
it's going
go
to
searching
automatically,
for it. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to automatically put the signed one into Command for you.
And the reason why we made the switch is because of that right there. So like things like that, because the system is so clunky, it wasn't streamlined with command, and then that afforded y'all with having to go do more things than what you needed to. So it streamlines the process. I actually set mine up to command yesterday, and the fact that I could do it on was a shock because I'm terrible at connecting things and doing that, and it was super easy. So if you have questions, reach out to the office. If you have files in DocuSign, what do they need to do, Linda?
If you have
If you
files in
have
DocuSign, if they've already closed, then will stay in Command. You won't need to do anything about those. All those documents will be accessible through Command. If you have anything that that never closed and you just want to keep for your records, you can download those onto your device before July 14th. If you want to download everything to a device before July 14th, you're welcome to do that as well, but it's not necessary.
If you have questions, reach out to the office. They'd be happy to assist. So don't go out there and try to figure it out. And the things, red day, please. If you do not have a red day t-shirt, we have a ton of t-shirts. Please reach out to the office so you can get a red day t-shirt. Let's go ahead and get that planned ahead of time. We're going to do a lot of stuff similar to what we did last year. So it's on, again, May 14th. So go ahead and block that on your calendar so that you can come serve for a few hours with us. And then E&O, I'm telling all of y'all these things so that y'all go ahead and take care of it today so you don't delay. E&O is due. So make sure you go ahead and get that done today. E&O, and then send your certificate into the office after you purchase it. I forgot to do that yesterday, Leslie, but I did purchase mine. So y'all make sure you get your E&O coverage and get that done. Any questions about everything I just threw at y'all?
The lone wolf, if you got everything in command, it lives in command. It's just that if it's in DocuSign, I guess some people keep documents in DocuSign. Is that the whole ordeal? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah,
so if it's in command already, you don't need to worry about it. It's already there. So that's just if you have anything personal you saved in your DocuSign, you'll want to download that. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot you'll need to take out.
Anything else? Any other questions?
So if a file's been processed for a check, it means all the documents have been uploaded to command. So there's nothing needed there. Is that correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, the question on that too is if you got something that's not like, I think they said, now how's that going to work like come July? If you got something that's not going to close
so the dates
after.
to keep in mind that we went over yesterday in team meeting, if you have a new listing that you are starting to work,
Okay.
you'll want to go ahead and start that in Lone Wolf by May 1st.
Got it.
So anything you have as a listing after May 1st, you want to go ahead and start that in Lone Wolf so you don't get cut off in the middle of your transaction. If you have a buyer you're working with, you'll want to start that by June 1st. And you can also just start doing everything in there as soon as possible so you don't get stuck in the middle of anything. If you do have a transaction that you started in DocuSign, you'll just want to make sure that you uploaded every one of the documents into Command by July 14th. If you don't have everything signed by that date, unfortunately, you will have to start a new opportunity and connect it in Lone Wolf in order to get the rest of the documents signed. So the earlier you can get started in Lone Wolf, it's better so you don't get stuck in the middle of a transaction.
I'm gonna go ahead and make this
Got it.
super simple for everybody on the call. I'm just gonna make it super simple. Don't delay. Go ahead and connect it today, and then start transactions from here on out in Lone Wolf. Like, there's no reason not to just go ahead and do it. So rip the Band-Aid, connect it, go ahead and start doing your deals out of Lone Wolf, and then that way you don't have to worry about any of that, unless you got like a 60, 90-day closing. Does that make sense? I would just encourage
Perfect
y'all,
sense.
do not
Perfect.
delay. Just go
Perfect.
connect it today. Go get your E&O today and get it done, and then move forward. So that way you don't have to worry about all these time frames and get overwhelmed. All right. So today is Shift Tactic. We're talking about creative financing for buyers. I've got Miss Patricia on here today. I've asked her to do two, and we might have time for another one for some creative financing for buyers. So on number 4, it says using a 401k or a temporary IRA transfers. And I want Miss Patricia to kind of go over that, things y'all need to be aware of and things to look for. So Miss Patricia, that way we don't overwhelm them. Let's talk about 401ks first.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everyone. So a buyer can use their 401k funds for their down payment and or closing costs. Believe it or not, a lot of clients do not realize that. They don't know that they could have money sitting in their 401k that they can use. Let's just say if they don't have liquid assets or anything like that, they can actually use money from their 401k. A good thing about that is, for one, is like when they pull the funds from their 401k, they may have to, pay it back through their company, like it'll be deducted from their payroll, but it's not included as a DTI on our end. So it's not going to hurt the DTI or anything like that. Another thing when utilizing 401k, let's just say, for instance, you have a marginal loan. Having a marginal loan, meaning it can't go through regular underwriting. They have to fully document it and things like that. You can actually use 401k for reserve requirements. So if you have a loan that the underwriter is telling your client, hey, you need to document 1, 2, 3 months reserves, and they don't have liquid assets in their bank account, they can actually use their 401k as reserve requirements. So that would help them, as it relates to the loan itself. So using 401k is a great way to come up with their down payment and closing costs. Transferring from IRA. Now, when utilizing the IRA, they have, you can actually do temporary transfers. And basically what that means is, like, if you're going to transfer money for your down payment and closing costs and using your IRA, there is like a 60-day rule. If you actually if they put the funds back into their IRA, they won't get penalized. So, if you pull money from your IRA, there is a great chance that they'll be penalized. So if they actually want to use their IRA funds, they can, but just know that they will be penalized for it. So that's the thing that they have to be aware of when utilizing IRA funds.
Any questions that y'all have regarding 401ks or IRAs?
Patricia.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I've been talking to some people, and I saw where there was a situation where they could borrow about 5% of the cash value in a life insurance policy. Are you able to do that as well?
So if they are able to do that, then yes, you can use it. If they, let's just say for instance, they pull the funds and they deposit or wire it into their account, only thing we'll have to verify is where the funds came from. So as long as we can source where the funds came from, we're okay. And they will need a paper trail. They'll need to show what was in the account. They'll need to show the money coming out of the account and what the balance is left after the funds have been withdrawn. But yes, you can actually use that as well. Pretty much, as it relates to funds, things like that, as long as we can document it, even like with the 401k, as I stated, you they're wanting to see a paper trail. So if your client has pulled money from their 401k and it just hit in their account, the underwriter is going to ask where that money came from. So we just have to make sure we get a paper trail of that.
Is there a
If,
limit to how much they can use out of their 401k?
It's not a limit for us, but they do need to check with their employer. There are sometimes they can, like, if they already have borrowed money from their 401k, they may not allow them to borrow it a second time, and they probably have to pay that one off. So they do have to check with their employer to make sure that they can borrow the funds, and they hadn't, because sometimes they do have a limit of the number of times you can borrow from your 401k.
Miss Patricia, is it the same for a 403B?
Yes, it is. Same, it works the same way. Same exact way. So 403Bs normally are, I think those are educators mostly. They
We
have a lot
also
of
have
those.
not for profit. So, of course, with the organization I'm with, we're not for profit, and
Yes.
that's our retirement fund is a 403B.
So now, as long as you can borrow again, we're okay. There are some that you cannot borrow against. So once again, you have to double check to make sure you can actually pull from those funds.
I think
Okay.
the question y'all should ask every buyer, if they have a high desire to buy and they're ready to make purchases, asking them if they have any retirement accounts, or anyone that they know that's gifting them money. Like, I think the point of this is to like help them see past traditional financing. So, do you have somebody that could gift you money? Do you have anything in retirement accounts? Are there other places that you want to seek money from? And if they say yes, or they have a 401k or they have a retirement account, I think it would be wise of you all to advise them to, to find out what that looks like to access that retirement account. And then I would also advise them to call a CPA.
Yes. Yes.
So calling
Yes.
both of those parties and then calling the LO, so that everybody, we have like a checklist, right? So we're going to call the person that can coach me up on how to access funds out of the retirement account. Then I'm going to call a CPA, so that not me, but the buyers, so they could get all the information they need around that, and then they call the LO.
Right. And two, when you're checking with your HR people or whoever when they're checking with them, there are some cases where again, they have to check and see. But if normally if they're purchasing a home, they will allow them to borrow against the funds. And going back to that 403B, now, because on the 403B, again, it works a little bit different, but you can borrow against it. But normally, a lot of times with the 403B, it's like it's a certain percentage. Like you can't borrow over, I think it's like 50% maybe or something of what your actual balance is. So once again, they'll have to know the specifics on the type of account that they have.
Great stuff. Anybody else have any other questions before we wrap up? Y'all, I said this the other day. Somebody asked me like what one of my biggest pet peeves are, like just in life, and like the word no. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't love the word no. I'm like, to find a way. If there is a will, there is a way. And so it's our job to help make a way for them, if there's a will to do it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's where this creativity comes in. It's the same thing with there's a will to sell, right? How do we get creative with it to package it differently so that it stands out of all the other houses, right? How can we get creative with offering different things? So anyway, just some
I had
friendly
a
reminders.
question, Sarah.
Go ahead.
I have one question. It's great information, Patricia. So when we're advising them, they're saying, okay, we have this 401k, because I've had them do it before, but I don't know like who they check with. Do they call their whoever the 401k is with? Do they get with their HR people? Like, where do they start to ask these questions?
They can actually, normally they have monthly statements. They normally get monthly statements, and it'll probably have out there their broker information. They can actually contact their broker, or they can start with HR. If it's easier, they can start with HR, and HR will probably maybe direct them whatever questions that they have and they can't answer. But I would actually, you can start with HR or start with the broker that's listed on the actual statement. So example,
Okay,
if
thank you.
they have an account with Charles Schwab, they can actually contact them directly.
Great question. That was a great question, Sandra. All right, y'all, let's go make a way for folks. Y'all let me know if you need anything.